All right, this is a screencast about the art of summarizing and, hey guys, paraphrasing, which we will be using throughout the year. First off, what is it? What is summarizing? Well, to summarize is to restate the author's main point, purpose, intent, and supporting details in your own words. And it is condensed. So it's much, much shorter. It's shorter than the original, but it is still as accurate as what you are summarizing as far as information goes. Why do we do it? Why do we summarize? Well, we summarize. Summarizing is often done to quickly give larger amounts of information. So you can take something bigger and you can condense it and give someone an overview of that information. The process of summarizing also enables you to grasp the original text better, and the result shows the reader that you understand. So if you're trying to showcase your understanding, you can summarize in a few points something that's much larger. In addition to this, the knowledge you gain by summarizing makes it possible for you to analyze and critique the original text. So you might utilize that as well when you're working with a larger text, a larger bit of information. Now, the steps to summarizing, some things you want to think about when you do take a larger piece and make it shorter, condense it. Restate, that is, repeat the ideas of the source in different words and phrases. So you always want to try to utilize synonyms and other words that mean the same thing and reword it into your own kind of phraseology. Don't add your own ideas, opinions, or judgments of the arguments at all. It's not a time for you to put yourself into it. You're simply offering up the information that was given. Make it shorter than the source as well. Now, here's an example of summarizing. So we can look at the following example. Students frequently overuse direct quotation in taking notes, and as a result, they overuse quotations in the final research paper. Probably only about 10% of your final manuscript should appear as directly quoted material. Therefore, you should strive to limit the amount of exact transcribing of source materials while taking notes. So there is a larger piece of information. And so now let's think about summarizing this and look at what the main ideas are for it. The main ideas, students overuse direct quotations is one idea that's in there. Another one is that students use too many of these in a final paper. And finally, students write too much word for word when taking notes. So when they take the notes off of a piece of information, they write a lot of word for word, or they might even copy and paste a lot of information from the text into their notes. And thus, they're kind of focusing directly on word for word from the text. All right, so those are the three ideas. So now let's look at those main ideas again. And now let's look at a summarization of it. Students place too many direct quotes in their research papers due to writing word for word when taking notes. All right, there's our summarization of that larger piece. And if we look at those two and compare those two, and we can see the first one is much larger, the second one is much shorter, and in fact, word total, we went from 52 total words to 19. So there we have summarization. Paraphrase. What is it? Well, it's a restatement or rewording of a text or passage so that you give it more clarity. It's usually the same length or longer. The difference between a paraphrase and a summarization is twofold. One is that it's about the same length. And you might say, well, if it's the same length, why would I want to do that? Well, let's figure that out. Why would you want to do something, reword it if it's going to be the same length? Well, paraphrasing is often done to control the language. You choose the words. Perhaps the language in the original is confusing or above the reading level of the audience, so it makes it more accessible. Paraphrasing might help with the flow of a piece, allowing the author to make the information from another source better match the language that's already in the paper, so that the paper sounds more like, the idea sounds more like you then it sounds like a 52-year-old professor teaching at MIT. Paraphrases still need to be cited the same way that direct quotes are, and that's really kind of key. You can see we've got our internal citation. If we were going to paraphrase, it's still someone else's idea, and since it is, you want to still cite it the same way that you would a direct quote. Now, the steps. There are 6 steps to paraphrasing. First off, if you're going to paraphrase, you want to know the piece really, really well. Read it twice. Then circle, highlight any words that you either don't understand or that you feel that need to be changed. They're big words, they're important words, they're words that might give the reader problems. Use a dictionary or glossary for the definition of those words or phrases. Step 3. Step 4, read the passage again, placing your own definition of those unfamiliar words, those large words in the phrase. And then read through the passage, translate the phrases into your own words. Now don't be afraid to change the order of the ideas. Many times it works to place the last idea first and then take the first idea and put that closer to the end of the paraphrase so that you're changing the structure completely. And lastly, review your paraphrase looking for errors or completeness. So those are 6 steps that you want to do. Read it, circle, identify words, define those words, place them in the read them with the passage with those words again, translate the passage, maybe change the structure, and then make sure that you review it to make sure that all of the information is in there accurately. All right, so let's look at an example, and we're going to use the same example again about direct quotation. All right, so we can look at it, and what I've done here, as you can see, I've color-coded words and phrases that I saw that needed to be changed. Frequently overused, taking notes, overused quotations. 10% of your final manuscript should strive, limit the amount. Exact transcribing, that's something that no one would probably ever use in their paper. Exact transcribing. And then source materials. And then you can see here in my bottom example the paraphrase, and you can look at the color. Frequently has been changed to often. Students have been changed to young writers. Excessively, overuse, taking notes, note-taking. We have a desirable level in place of 10% of your final manuscript. Word for word is another way of exact transcribing. Source material, original work. So you can see here what I've tried to do is take a lot of the words and phraseologies from the original and change them, and you can see that basically both pieces are around the same length. And then I read through it again and I make sure all of the ideas are there, and if they are, then I've done a good job of paraphrasing, and then I would just want to have a citation here at the end. That's paraphrasing and summarization.